Welcome back to the floor by my new and but still empty bookshelf. Let me get my coffee. I feel like this is one I need a coffee for. So you may have seen my plans for reading, and basically all of my plans have had to go out the window because basically every single book that I have ever ordered from the library came in all at the same time. I am usually quite good with planning my library reservations in that I can see from the app whether they're available in some library or other, and therefore whether they're likely to come in within the week or within 2 weeks, and then those that are going to be a much longer waiting time. But somehow I've ended up with 19 books out at the same time from my library, which is a lot, and I do want to read them all. I'm not one of these people that has loads of books out from the library with no intention of reading them all. So I showed you in the thumbnail you could see the full stack of them all, but I've separated them out on my floor. They're around me in piles, and I'm going to tell you about the different ones. But yeah, basically if you've seen me talking about my reading plans for the near future, all of that is going out the window. I have some reading plans that still involve books that are on my TBR, but in general I'm going to try and prioritise the library books and get them out the way. So I did start reading the 2022 Booker long list. Began with Trust, which I had on Arc, loved it. I've now also got Case Study by Graham McRae Burnett. I have started that one. That one's got my little bookmark in. I'm a tiny bit of the way in, so there will be a video coming soon with me talking about my thoughts on that. I have stopped where I am in this because I have theories, I have predictions already. I think it's already an obvious storyline, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. And then I've also got After Sappho come in by Selby Wynne Schwartz. This is another one that I thought would take ages to come in because I thought everyone would want to read it. But no, that one's come in really quickly. So where do I go next? You've seen me mention already Normal People and Ordinary People. These ones I already had from the library as part of my 2019 Women's Prize reading vlog. So I read Ghost Wall and Silence of the Girls. These are the next two. And then the other one that was on there was Milkman, which was also the winner for the Booker Prize in 2018. So I thought, as this was part of both prizes, I would have a look at all of the long-listed, shortlisted, etc. for the Booker Prize in 2018. Ordered the ones that I wanted to read and they all came in at the same time. We have Everything Under by Daisy Johnson. Is it a Hansel and Gretel retelling? Daisy Johnson's debut novel turns classical myth on its head and takes readers to a modern-day England unfamiliar to most, as daring as it is moving. Everything Under is a story of family and identity, of fate, language, love and belonging that leaves you unsettled and unstrung. So, well, I mean, when I was reading through them and ordering them from the library, of course I thought they sounded interesting. Then we've got The Water Cure by Sophie Mackintosh. Sophie Mackintosh is a reader that I've had on my radar for ages. I really want to read some of her work, so quite excited to get to one of those. We've got The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. While this sounds interesting, I think this is the one that I am one of the ones that I'm most worried about. It's set in a women's prison. It's not a setting that I really read from before. I'm not sure whether prison settings are something that I particularly enjoy, but very intrigued. That's why I wanted to try it. I didn't realise quite how big it is. It's enormous. And then the other one was a graphic novel. This is called Sabrina, and it's by Nick Dranaso. Graphic novels, not really necessarily my thing, but intrigued. Where do I go next? Next, let's talk about Women in Translation. So I came to the Women in Translation readathon by various YouTubers a bit late to the game. Sorry, had to answer the telephone. I think it was a week-long readathon, but I did miss it, unfortunately. It did prompt me to go looking for some Women in Translation at my library, some various ones that I've been interested in. So we've got Portrait of an Unknown Lady by Maria Gainza, translated from Spanish by Thomas Bunstead. A woman checks into a Buenos Aires hotel on the trail of a master forger. In this dazzling story of art and illusion, secrets and schemes, who is to be trusted and what is real? That sounds right up my street. And then the next two I became interested in because Jen Campbell always talks about Tilted Axis Press, and I was having a look on the Tilted Axis Press website, and these two were available in the Norfolk Library scheme. So we've got Tokyo Ueno Station by Yu Mira, translated by Morgan Giles. Born in Fukushima in 1933, the same year as the Emperor, Kazu's life is tied by a series of coincidences to Japan's imperial family and to one particular spot in Tokyo, the park near Ueno Station, the same place his unquiet spirit now haunts in death. It is here that Kazu's life in Tokyo began, as a labourer in the run-up to the 1964 Olympics, and later where he ended his days living in the park's vast homeless villages, traumatised by the destruction of the 2011 tsunami and enraged by the announcement of the 2020 Olympics. That's just a little short one that looks quite good. This much longer one is called Women Dreaming by Salma, and translated by Meena Kandasamy. This one says, Mehar dreams of freedom and a life with her children. Asiya dreams of her daughter's happiness. Sajida dreams of becoming a doctor. Subaida dreams of the day when her family will become free of woes. Parveen dreams of a little space for herself in the world. Mothers, daughters, aunts, sisters, neighbours. In this tiny Muslim village in Tamil Nadu, the lives of these women are sustained by the faith they have in themselves, in each other and the everyday compromises they make. Salma's storytelling, crystalline in its simplicity, patient in its unravelling, enters this interior world of women, held together by love, demarcated by religion, comforted by the courage in dreaming of better futures. And then the final one on this Women in Translation list that I have is Eleanor Knows by Claudia Pinheiro, translated by Frances Riddle. This one was on the Barbellion Prize, which is a prize which looks to raise the voices of disabled and chronically ill authors. So that is why this was on, but this is also a book that Jen Campbell highly recommends. I think it was on her favourite books of last year or this year or something, but she highly recommended it, and so it's been on my radar. When Rita's body is found hanging in the belfry of the church she devoted herself to, the investigation is swiftly closed. But her mother, Eleanor, refuses to accept the police's version of what happened, and despite the physical limitations imposed by her illness, embarks on a journey to call in an old debt. Unfolding over a single day, Eleanor's arduous trek across Buenos Aires forces her to redefine everything she thought she knew about her relationship with her daughter, while confronting her with the ramifications of a fleeting encounter 20 years earlier. Written in an engrossing style that recalls John Cheever and Thomas Bernhard, this is a moving novel about hypocrisy that asks us if we can still change our views late in life and find a will to go on despite our failing bodies. So that sounds good. Where to go to next in this pile. So something that I really want to do is go back through previous years of the Booker Prize. I think I'm beginning to realise that I prefer the Booker Prize to, say, the Women's Prize, just in terms of the nominees and things. But I decided I wanted to go back through the previous years to try and read some of the books that have been on there. And the first year that the Booker Prize was a thing was 1969. So I have two books that were shortlisted. I don't know what the long list was, if it even had a long list back then. But when you go on the Booker Prize website, you can go back all the way to 1969. And these two were ones that caught my eye, so I'm not going to read every single book that's ever been nominated or won the prize, simply because there are going to be books that aren't going to appeal to me. But I picked up two that sounded pretty good. Maybe one day I'll go back and see if any others. But we've got The Public Image by Muriel Spark. I've read one Spark book before, which I didn't really enjoy. That was called The Girls of Slender Means. Didn't really love it, so we'll see. And then we've got The Nice and the Good by Iris Murdoch. Yeah, I'm going to do a reading vlog with both of these, so you'll see my thoughts on them, what they're about, whether I like them or not. But funnily, isn't that funny though, that from the 1969 shortlist, the two that I liked the sound of were both written by women, so there you go. Another Booker Prize nominee, Jeanette Winterson and Frankenstein. I love Jeanette Winterson. I've read two Wintersons before, so I'm really looking forward to this. I don't think I even realised it was a Booker Prize nominee when I ordered it. I just knew I wanted to read this from Winterson. So what happens when Homo sapiens is no longer the smartest being on the planet? As Brexit grips Britain, Rye, a young transgender doctor, is falling in love. The object of their misguided affection, the celebrated AI specialist, Professor Victor Stein. Meanwhile, Ron Lord, just divorced and living with his mum again, is set to make his fortune with a new generation of sex dolls for lonely men everywhere. Ranging from 1816, when 19-year-old Mary Shelley pens her first radical novel, to a cryonics facility in present-day Arizona, where the dead wait to return to life. Frankenstein shows us how much closer we are to the future than we realise. So, yeah, really want to read that one. So many books. Temporary by Hilary Laker. I have just joined the Weird Women's Book Club, which is brilliant, but this is the first month. So September is the first month that I am able to join in. I joined too late, really, to get my hands on the book that was being read for August. Temporary, they choose 2 books each month, so if you can't get your hands on one, you can try and get your hands on the other, or if there's one that you like the sound of and one that you don't, so it's quite nice. Temporary is one of the books. The other book is The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gunty, which I've ordered from the library, but I think that one's a much more popular title, so I'm not sure if that's going to come in time for September. But yes, this is the other one that I'm going to be reading for that book club. It says 18 boyfriends, 23 jobs, and a job agency like no other. Welcome to the world of the temporary. There is nothing more personal than doing your job. So goes the motto of the temporary, a female worker who takes job after job in search of steadiness, belonging, and something to call her own. Aided by her bespoke agency and a cast of boyfriends, each allotted their own task, the handy boyfriend, the culinary boyfriend, the real estate boyfriend. She is happy to fill in for any of us, for the chairman of the board, a ghost, a murderer, a mother, even for you and for me. Wild, hopeful, infinitely sad and infinitely funny, Temporary is a unique and remarkable story of what it is to work and live here and now. Sounds good. The final 3, they're kind of random ones. We've got Sealed by Naomi Booth. I find all the synopses for Naomi Booth's books really intriguing. This is published by Daunt Books, an indie publisher, so I do try to prioritise indie publishers. I do love them. Not Daunt Books, Dead Ink Books. Dead Ink Books. Heavily pregnant Alice and her partner Pete are done with the city. Above all, Alice is haunted by the rumours of the skin-sealing epidemic starting to infect the urban population. Surely their new remote mountain house will offer safety, a place to forget the nightmares and start their little family. But the mountains and their people hold a different kind of danger. With their relationship under intolerable pressure, violence erupts and Alice is faced with the unthinkable as she fights to protect her unborn child. Timely and suspenseful, Sealed is a gripping modern fable on motherhood, a terrifying portrait of ordinary people under threat from their own bodies and from the world around them. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to trying a Naomi Booth just to see if I like her writing, because all the synopses for her books sound brilliant. And then the other 2 sort of random-ish ones are Cherish Farah by Bethany Morrow and Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquist. This year I read or listened to Mem by Bethany Morrow, which is a short story novella, sort of a long short story, I don't know, but it was so good that I thought I need to read anything else by Bethany Morrow. And I think this came out this year. I think this is a 2022 publication. Let's have a look. Yeah, 2022 publication. A new adult social horror novel in the vein of Get Out meets My Sister the Serial Killer, about Farah, a young, calculating black girl who manipulates her way into the lives of her black best friend's white, wealthy, adoptive family, but soon suspects she may not be the only one with ulterior motives. 17-year-old Farah Turner is one of 2 black girls in her country club community, and the only one with black parents. Her best friend, Cherish Whitman, adopted by a white, wealthy family, is something Farah likes to call WGS, White Girl Spoiled. With Brianne and Jerry Whitman as parents, Cherish is given the kind of adoration and coddling that even upper-class black parents can't seem to afford, and it creates a dissonance in her best friend that Farah can exploit. When her own family is unexpectedly confronted with foreclosure, the calculating Farah is determined to reassert the control she's convinced she always had over her life by staying with Cherish, the only person she loves, even when she hates her. As troubled Farah manipulates her way further into the Whitman family, The longer she stays, the more her own parents suggest that something is wrong in the Whitman house. She might trust them, if they didn't think something was wrong with Farah too, when strange things start happening at the Whitman household, debilitating illnesses, upsetting fever dreams, and inexplicable tension, with Cherish's hot-headed boyfriend and a mysterious journal that seems to keep track of what is happening to Farah. It's nothing she can't handle, but soon everything begins to unravel when the Whitmans invite Farah closer, and it's anyone's guess who is really in control. Told in Farah's chilling, unforgettable voice and weaving and searing commentary on race and class, this slow-burn social horror will keep you on the edge of your seat until the last page. Yeah, that sounds really good. And then Tripping Arcadia by Kit Maquis. This is a gothic novel written by a bisexual trans masculine writer. Perfect. A propulsive and atmospheric modern gothic filled to the brim with all the splendour of the Great Gatsby and all the secrets, lies and darkness that opulence can hide. Med school dropout Lena is desperate for a job, any job, to help her parents, who are approaching bankruptcy after her father was injured and laid off nearly simultaneously. So when she is offered a position against all odds working for one of Boston's most elite families, as illustrious as they are secretive, Lena knows she must accept it, no matter how bizarre the interview or how vague the job description. By day she is assistant to the family doctor, and his charge Jonathan, the sickly, poetic, drunken heir to the family empire, who is as difficult as his illness is mysterious. By night, Lena discovers the more sinister side of the family as she works overtime at their lavish parties, helping to hide their self-destructive tendencies and trying not to fall for Jonathan's alluring sister Audrey. But when she stumbles upon the knowledge that the family patriarch is the one responsible for the ruin of her own family, Lena vows to get revenge, a poison-filled quest that leads her further into this hedonistic world than she ever bargained for, forcing her to decide how much and whom she's willing to sacrifice for payback. The perfect next read for fans of Mexican Gothic, Tripping Arcadia is a page-turning and shocking tale with an unforgettable protagonist that explores family legacy and inheritance, the sacrifices we must make to get by in today's world, and the intoxicating, dangerous power of wealth. That's a lot of books to read, but they all sound really good, and I'm really excited for all of them. So let's see if by the end of September I can manage to get through all of these, because I do have other books that I need to read as well. I've got a buddy read plan with Karina from A Story of Sorts. I also still need to finish Eden by Sonia Overall. I've got some arcs to read. Yeah, I've got quite a bit to finish, so wish me luck.